Welcome to another episode of Red Lotus Life. We are so happy that you are here with us today because we have a different kind of subject that we're going to be talking about. Um, Totally lights us up, but not quite exactly sure what's going to come out of our mouths. So we will see. So welcome to Red Lotus Life. Welcome to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the audio versions. If you're on any of the audio platforms, this is where we provide resources and tools to create a life that you love after abuse. So today we're going to be talking about the Say Yes to Soul Challenge because it's getting ready to start. I don't know what day this is right now, but it's getting ready to start on February 1st. And we are so stoked about it because last year we had so many participants literally transform their lives in 30 days. And very easily too, quite simply and easily. And so we're here to say, please join us. We would absolutely love for you to join us. But one of the things that we're going to be talking about today is that it's okay to, let's see, I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I got it right, that it's okay if it hurts a little. This has been like an ongoing theme with all of our conversations that we've had lately with different people in our lives and different situations and experiences, something as simple as me looking for an office space, and also just in conversations of seeing people's careers take off and them mastering their careers and being the top people in their careers. So whenever I'm talking about this, it's okay if it hurts a little. It's okay if it hurts a little while we wait for what it is that we actually want, because I can't tell you how many times with us doing this work that we settle, right? We go for the instant gratification of something that we want or what we think we want. And then as we're in that situation, in that relationship, in that contract, whatever that is, we start to realize, oh, this is actually not what we want at all.
Mhm.
That it actually takes us experiencing what we don't want so we can figure out and gain clarity on what we do want. So that is what we are actually going to talk about today, because it's in the Say Yes to Soul Challenge that you get absolute clarity. And not only do you get clarity, but you also start to take the steps towards creating that life of saying yes to your soul. So
Yeah, absolutely. I love this so much because as we start, and we're actually starting at the Chinese New Year, at the actual New Year, and also um Lori's birthday month. So that's exciting too.
I'm like, I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, don't want to forget that part. That's important. We get to celebrate Lori all month long during the challenge.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So we set our intentions and then we get clear and we get focused on what wasn't working. What wasn't working and what is it that we're truly desiring? And so now we have an idea moving forward of like it's okay. It's okay to actually get what you desire. And at least now we know that this over here is not what we wanted and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it
And
just
that's
feels
the
so
whole
much fun.
idea. Oh, go ahead. What?
I was just going to say it's so much fun because there's so much momentum created.
Oh my gosh, so much momentum because you take a little step every single day. There's a tiny step that we take every single day in the challenge. But I love that part where what you just talked about, because, you know, it's that whole sentence of everything that we experience happens for us. And I remember prior to doing this work, I hated that so bad. I was in victim mode so bad about it. Not actually victim mode, but I was just like, don't sit there and tell. I didn't understand the context, I think, behind that, or the principle around that. I think I was so triggered and so like I was just like, don't tell me that the things that I've experienced are for me and that I chose this, even though like I was just taking it so literal. But now I understand, like, we actually have to experience the things that we don't want so we can gain clarity on what we do. And for me today in this moment, that's what it means to me, is like it gives me clarity, because that's another thing. I wasn't taught to have clarity in my life. And what I mean by that is like desires, right? And dreams and all of that. I was
Mhm.
never taught to dream. I was actually with my family culture, my whole life, my life was laid out for me. I was even told what I was going to be. Like my whole life growing up, you're going to be this and you're going to go to school for this. Da 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 da. With my grandparents, that was what they would say. My grandmother especially. And then with with my mom, she was just very much like she just wanted us to be happy. She cared that we had an education and all of that stuff, but she just really wanted us to be happy. And so I never actually had the experience of dreaming and being like, oh, I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. Like I never had the experience of what is it like to actually use my imagination and to cultivate and nourish a dream, like plant that seed and actually nourish it and then watch it come to life. Have you? Did you ever experience that?
It's I experienced something a little bit different. Like I always had this big, huge imagination, and I thought that I was capable and could do anything. But I guess what I was more met with, especially in relationships, and maybe not so much with my parents, but people then telling you that you can't do it or putting there's an obstacle in the way now, that's making it harder for you to get to where you want to go. Um, and and also there to some extent there was this idea that I was dreaming too big.
Wow. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
putting the limitations on you big time,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Which I hear that a lot with my clients and the different people that I work with. It's like they wanted to go big, but they were told, well, it will never happen, or we don't have the money, or we're not that kind of family. Like that stuff doesn't happen to our family, you know. I can totally see that. It's interesting too. So with the work that Sarah and I do, we release conditioning around limiting beliefs. We release the energetic imprints around that. And it's like, how many times growing up were we shut down, right?
Hmm.
Regardless if it was, I mean, it's always for our best interest, actually. Our parents and everybody always wants us to, they want to love us, right? They want us to be the best that we can be, and they also want to protect us. And so sometimes they want to protect us from disappointment. And that's actually where I sit here and go, that's what I experienced was it was either like, here you go, your whole life is laid out like this, or and then the Japanese culture, right? Or it was, I just want you to be happy, but educate yourself, get a job with benefits, all this kind of stuff. But I never actually got encouraged to shoot for the moon. And I think it's because of the disappointment. You know, they just, on both sides, they just never wanted me to be disappointed and hurt and
Right.
discouraged, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's also the whole aspect of conditioning around being a mother and what's appropriate or not appropriate as far as your dreams are concerned. And I experienced that a lot as well. And I think too that part of that conditioning around desires for sure comes from our parents, and we see that role model to us. And so that puts limitations as well. But going back to your initial thought process and the words that you shared, this is really about evolution, because as we're experiencing those things that we aren't desiring to experience, we're getting clarity around those things that we are desiring, then that turns into our purpose. Like we're clearing all of that karmic stuff that we don't want in order to be able to move more towards our evolution and our dharma
Mhm.
ultimately. That's really what it looks like.
Yes, which is actually why we're here, right?
Right.
That's why we're here. That's why we're experiencing this life. So I love that you brought that up too, because our desires are our compass, but
Mhm.
from the minute we're born, those start to get conditioned away. So this whole thing of it's okay if it hurts a little. Prior to us getting on the call, I was even bringing up this fact about like this instant gratification, right? We live in a world of instant gratification. And so if we sit there and say something like, okay, I'm going to use my office space for an example. So like I'm looking for an office space and I keep going to these different offices and I'm trying to find, the perfect space or what's going to work for me and what I would like to do. And I was sharing with Sarah, I'm like, gosh, it's like every single one, it's like, I can work with this. I can make it work. And it's checking off this box and it's checking off this box and this box. Like I have a list of things that I really want. But every single time I go into one of these offices, I'm finding out what's not on my list. I'm experiencing something where I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that that was something that I wanted. And so coming on here, and I almost signed a contract where I would have been stuck in a contract, right? And I talk about this, stuck in a contract. And it would have been for the instant gratification of like, okay, now there's this space. But I would have 100% been settling and I could feel my body constricting when I would think about I felt the contract of
Right.
it, right? It didn't feel expansive to me. It felt constricting to me. And then I was telling her, I said, I would be settling. Like our desires are a compass. So I know that this is how I want to feel. This is what I want it to look like, what I want it to be like. I know it's out there, but if I would have just went, yeah, I just need an office right now, sign
Mhm.
this contract, I'm 100% settling. Where right now, it's okay to hurt a little bit being in this corner of my home. It's okay to hurt a little bit while this manifests and
Yes.
while this aligns. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so good because what it does actually is it takes us out of that place of victim mentality. And then in that case, like you would be settling, or in any case, we would be settling for something that we weren't desiring. And then what happens? We're the victim, we're the martyr, and that entire role plays out. So get
Yeah.
clear. It's always good to get really, really clear on what you don't want first.
Yeah, it's really cool to even just use like that one as an example, right? Because my standards doing this work of saying yes to my soul, my standards are high. When I was in more of a martyr, martyr vibration, I guess you could say, it was like my expectations were high. Now I have been able to shift that by doing this work. What we do and say is to soul be like, no, my standards are high. I have very high standards, and I am the one that meets those first. And that is the only standard of my environment, my life, like every aspect of my life are these high standards. And it's doing this Say Yes to Soul challenge where I'm super stoked. But this is where we do the work with you all too, is in Say Yes to Soul. And so in this challenge, I'm excited to even see like where in my life and in my environment are the standards not being met, not only by myself, but for the life that I'm creating for myself.
Mhm.
And so I love this because also right underneath all of this, right, is that universal love. Like that is what we all want, universal love. But we
Mhm.
also all struggle with accepting accepting help, accepting support. We're also independent right now and feel disconnected and as if we don't have community. And so now it's really just being in resonance with that and creating this life where we do have support and we do experience love. But the most important thing is being able to receive that
Receive it.
because, yeah, I think a lot of times we think we don't have it, but we do. And we just don't have it. We don't have it in our awareness that we do.
Yeah, we might not have it in our awareness, but also due to conditioning, we actually might not be able to receive it.
Mhm.
That I see that over and over and over again. So it really is important to be able to open that heart space and release the conditioning that's not allowing you to be able to receive love in that way.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm just really excited to start this challenge. Um, One last thing that I wrote down here was let yourself believe you deserve it. This is like, I feel like this is like
Mm.
our mantra, right? Like intention and belief for everything in all things. And so even when we get to like, we get underneath it, right? Like where I went through this process of like, this office might work, and I can make it work and getting to that and then realizing like where was I setting my actual desires away? Where was I selling myself out and not actually waiting for what I actually want? And it got down to like, I went through all the different layers of basically it's just not out there. That's what I was thinking. It's not out there for a price that I can afford and all these things. And then it got to the point of, oh man, I'm letting myself down again. Like it got down to that love for self and going, oh man, how many times has this happened where I live a life that's less than because I am not putting my standards and the love for self and having that belief that this is out there. But I was
Yeah,
able to shift it real fast.
yeah. Create that vision and manifest it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we have to be in that belief. We have to be in that frequency and vibration of belief. And that's what we do in Say Yes to Soul. And in this challenge is you are going, even if you're somebody that says, I have no idea. I have no reference point. Nobody knows the life that I've lived. It's been so hard. It's so difficult. I am on my own, you know, all the situations and circumstances that surround this. There's no way. This is actually what we do in Say Yes to Soul. And in 30 days, you actually will see. Not only will you'll have clarity, you will have a plan, and you will actually begin to take steps towards creating that, which is why if people really dive in and do this work, their entire life transforms in 30 days.
Entire life. It makes a
Mhm.
difference. Mhm.
Yeah. So we invite you to join us. We begin February 1st. We're already in the Telegram chat. Um, so people are already working with us in that space. We have people that are returning from last year. We're super excited about that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else that we need to speak on here?
I don't think so. Just join us.
Just
Mhm.
join us. So like, share, and subscribe if you want to hear more. We're going to be coming out with more on what it is that we're going to be doing in the channel, or I mean in the challenge. Drop a comment if you have any questions about what this is. As always, so much gratitude for you. And please share this. Like, do it with a friend, do it with your spouse, your partner, your family, your kids. Like, it's so easy to do. Anyone can do this. It's beginner level, it's more advanced level. If you're just wanting to even start to be like, you know what, I just want to better myself, it's for you. If you're somebody that like, I want to publish a book, this is for you. I want to start a business, this is for you. You have something specific you're working on with health or weight loss or anything like that, anything. This is for you. And we're so excited to begin.
Can't wait to see you there.
Mhm. Okay, bye.
Bye.
And